Hi everyone, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. So today I'm bringing you a video that many of you guys have been asking about, and so I'm really excited to be bringing it to you today. So in this video today, I'm going to be reviewing the new Ilia True Skin Radiant Priming Serum and the new Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer. And I'm so excited that these products launched, and the minute I heard rumblings about these products launching, I was just like checking Ilia's Instagram every day until they launched, because if you guys have been subscribed to my channel or watched any of my videos for a while now, you guys know that I am a die-hard Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation fan. And since that foundation launch and since I tried it, it really has become basically one of my favorite foundations of all time. Like when I have an event, when I went to a job interview, like when I have something that's important, I put that foundation on because I know how it's going to perform, I know how it's going to wear, and I know that my skin is going to look great even on really long days. Long story short, I knew I had to try out the primer and I knew I had to try out the concealer, and so I'm gonna just jump right in to talking about these. Of course, I'm gonna show you demos of me applying the products so you can see how they actually work. We're gonna do side by side like I've been doing recently. I'm going to walk you through and share all my thoughts on the primer and the concealer. So I'm gonna start with the primer. The primer is around $50. I think it's like $52, $53, something like that. So it does have a pretty high price point. You get 1 fluid ounce of product. It is an expensive primer, but the idea behind this primer is it's supposed to kind of combine skincare and makeup. Like it's supposed to kind of bridge that gap, which is what the True Skin Serum Foundation does as well. And it's supposed to be firming, and it is aloe infused, and it is a radiant primer. And normally, you know, a year ago, I would have been like, radiant, I have oily skin, no. But for some reason, I have been embracing more radiant, more glowy makeup, even though I do have more oily skin, because I kind of came to the realization that my foundation is going to get oily throughout the day no matter if I wear a matte foundation or a more glowy one. And sometimes I even feel like if I put on a more glowy foundation, that because my skin is not as dry, it tends to not overproduce as many oils. And also it's winter right now, so my skin is drier just because it is winter, so this seemed like a good primer to try out. So I'm going to show you me applying it, and the first thing with this primer is that it comes with a dropper, and you can see the actual primer itself is kind of clear. It's a little cloudy because it's hard to see in here, but it's got a little bit of glowy radiance. So when you put it on, it definitely does add a glow to your skin. The consistency of this primer does remind me a lot of the Graydon Full Moon Serum. The viscosity of it, it's a very similar texture. It's kind of like a thick water. It's not a gel, it is a kind of thicker watery liquid, and I think that is from the aloe vera in the product. I applied this on top of my skincare. So prior to this video, I had put on my vitamin C serum from Delia Organics. I then went in with my Balance moisturizer from Bristol Sussex, which is a moisturizer cream. It's rather lightweight, but I do use it every day. And then I went in with this primer. When I apply this primer, it is glowy and it does add a nice glow to my skin. And as you can see, when I go in with the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation, it does glide on top of this really well. This primer can be a little sticky at first when it's first drying down, but if you give it a minute and let it dry more fully, it's not sticky at all, and the foundation really glides on top of it. A few days ago, as a test, I applied the primer to one half of my face and not to the other half of my face, and then put the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation on top of both halves of my face. I honestly could not tell a difference. I couldn't tell a difference in how the foundation applied. I couldn't tell a difference in how it wore, and it wasn't just me. It was a Saturday, I was with my husband all day, and I told him what I'd done, and we both throughout the day just kept looking at my face, like trying to see if there was any difference. And I couldn't tell any. I have two thoughts with that. One is that the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation is so good that I'm not even convinced it really needed a primer. It just works so well that when they came out with the primer, I was like, is this gonna make the foundation even better? Like, it's so good as it is. And I guess my answer to that is it doesn't, because the foundation is so good. But I also have a second thought with that, which is that my skin is oily. So once I do my morning skincare routine and I put on my serum and then a moisturizer, my skin is like happy. It's good to go. Like it's pretty well moisturized. And this is where this primer may be more helpful, is if you have drier skin and even after you do your morning skincare routine, your skin still feels dry. This is an additional hydrating step to put on before your foundation. So you might see more of a difference if you have more dry skin, but because my skin is oily and it's normally pretty hydrated, it didn't do a lot. Though I did want to test this primer out with a number of other foundations. So I have tested it out under the Pacifica Elite foundation, the 100% pure water foundation, and under the Ebates oat milk foundation. I have not tried it out under the Kosas foundation because I've had problems in the past with the Kosas foundation not playing well with the Graydon Skincare Full Moon Serum, because that serum is very water-based, and the Kosas Tinted Oil foundation is tinted oil. The problem I was having was that Graydon Skincare Full Moon Serum was balling up under the Kosas Tinted Oil foundation. And because the consistency of this Ilia primer reminds me a lot of the Graydon Skincare Full Moon Serum, I didn't end up trying it under the Kosas foundation because I suspect it may behave the same way. But I do have to say that where this primer really did shine was under more matte foundations, because the water foundation and the Pacifica foundation are definitely more matte foundations, and that is where I really saw a difference. Like this primer really helped those foundations glide on really easily on my skin, not settle into fine lines at all, because with having more hydration and more moisture in my skin, it really did help the products to just sit better on my skin. And I think it helped those foundations look better initially. Like those foundations for me wear a little bit better once my natural oils start coming out. My thoughts on this primer are that I think it might be more helpful for drier skin types, because my skin is so oily. I can really get the hydration in my skin using skincare, and I don't necessarily need that product. But I do think it is a nice product if you also want to simplify your skincare routine and you really just want to go in with a product that is a primer and skincare all in one, and you want to possibly eliminate a step in your skincare routine because it really does have beautiful skincare ingredients and is trying to bridge that gap between skincare and makeup. I do have to say that the primer really doesn't have much of a scent. I know some of you are not a huge fan of some of the Ilia scents. This one really, I was smelling it when I was putting it on this morning, and I really am not detecting any noticeable scent. I guess my thought was I really wanted this primer to blow me out of the water, to make my Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation go to the next level, and it just didn't for me. I really think that the primer did the best job under drier foundation. If you're looking for a hydrating, radiant primer, I would say that this is good. Like it really did work well under other foundations, which is also a testament to the product itself because it actually played well with others, not just the Ilia True Skin. And I like how it looks under the Ilia True Skin. Like I really like how my makeup is looking, how my foundation is looking. I have a nice glow to my skin. It's absolutely not at all settled into my fine lines. Like I really do think it looks good on, but if I do good skincare and then go in with the Ilia True Skin without the primer, my skin also looks pretty good. And I think that that test where I put it on one half of my face and not the other, and I really couldn't tell a difference in how it was wearing or how the foundation looked, was telling me that I didn't necessarily need this product, at least under the Ilia True Skin. Like I said, I can definitely tell a difference under drier foundations, but for me and my oily skin, it didn't do as much under the Ilia True Skin. So before I go into talking about the concealer, I'm gonna make an aside for a moment for my fair skin ladies out there, because I now have both fair shades of the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. This one here is in the shade Sable, and this one here is the shade Formentera. Formentera had been the shade that I've been using. I went through an entire bottle, repurchased another one. And then Ilia, actually I have to shout out Ilia for this. They saw me talking about the shade Sable in my stories and saying that I really wanted to try it out because I have fair skin. I wanted to see if this is a better shade match for me. and they actually sent me the shade Sable. So I'm gonna swatch both of these for you guys so you can see the difference in the shades. I used the shade Sable today. I've been gravitating towards the shade Sable a little bit more. The shade on top is Sable and the shade down below is Formentera. The shade Sable has more of a yellow undertone and the shade Formentera definitely has more of a pink undertone. And even though my skin is not really yellow undertone, I actually prefer the shade Sable because I think, and it's a little hard to tell because the undertones are different. I think that Sable is a lighter shade, and because my skin is so fair, I think that's a better shade match for me. Probably, honestly, if I mix the two, I actually haven't tried that. I don't know why I haven't. I think if I mix the two, it might actually be my perfect shade because it probably would go a little bit more neutral in undertone. Even though the undertone's not perfect, I think just because the shade Sable is a little fairer that it actually works better for me. But I really did want to show them to you in case you have fair skin and you're trying to distinguish between the two shades. So now I'm going to move on to talking about the concealer. And for the concealer, they have 9 shades. 9 shades isn't a ton, and I was talking about that in my Instagram stories, and the brand did reach out to me and say that they are coming out with more shades. I have no idea when that is. I have no idea what shades they'll be launching or how many more shades they'll be launching, but they are going to come out with more shades. I do have the shade SC1, which is Chicory, and that is the lightest shade that they have. And I'm first going to swatch it for you here next to these 2 foundation shades because I think that's a good way to kind of get a comparison of what's going on, and then we can talk about it. Here's the concealer swatch right here, and you can see it here next to the 2 lightest shades of the foundation. The problem I have with this concealer is that the shade is not light enough. As you can see, it's a little deep, especially for a concealer, and especially compared to the 2 lightest foundation shades, it doesn't really go with them. Like, it needs to be a little bit lighter in order to actually brighten under the eyes. I'm gonna wipe this off before I get it all over me in my white sweater. I'm gonna show you me applying it under my eyes. I have it under my eyes today, and I can make this shade work, but I am convinced that this concealer would work better if the shade was lighter because it's not a light enough shade. It doesn't brighten under my eyes. And so even though my dark circles are concealed, my eyes still look kind of dark because it's not a brightening shade. It's not a shade lighter than my foundation. So I am hoping so much that Ilia does come out with a lighter shade of the concealer because I like the formula of the concealer. And I have been trying out a lot of liquid concealers in Non-Toxic Beauty recently. I've been trying out the Clove and Hallow. I've tried out the Fitglow, I've tried out the Han Skincare, I've tried out this one, I've tried out the Pacifica. So there's like 5 liquid concealers I've been trying out recently. And this one is different in that it is a super lightweight concealer. It reminds me of the True Skin Serum foundation in a concealer form. And I'd been hoping since that foundation launched that they would come out with a concealer because the foundation is so good. I was like, there could be a concealer that's just that good, but a concealer. And I think this is it. My one con, and I will keep saying this over and over and over, is that shade is not light enough if you have fair skin. So if you are my skin tone, I would say hold off on this concealer until hopefully a lighter shade is launched. Like, it is just not the right shade for us fair folk. But if you have a deeper skin tone than I do, I think you can make this work. When I was looking at the shades, and I'm not a good judge of this because I am so fair, but I don't think it really goes deep enough either. So if you have a really deep skin tone, you might have a bit of an issue finding a shade as well. I think if you're in the like light to medium shade range, you should be fine. But if you're on one end or the other end of the spectrum, that's where the problem is. And that's typically where there is a problem in most brands. So I'm hoping an additional shade launch will help. I really like the formula of this concealer because it is really lightweight and it's not a full coverage concealer. It's not the same coverage you're going to get from the Clove and Hallow, from the Han Skincare Cosmetics, or from the Fitglow concealer. Like, it's not that level of coverage, but the formula is really lightweight and it does cover. So it's a more comfortable formula in a way. So if you want something that's just more lightweight, or you just don't want something that full coverage, because if you're wearing a full coverage concealer, you know, you're wearing a full coverage concealer. If you want to go for a lighter coverage foundation, a lighter coverage concealer, like this would be the one I would recommend. Or if you want to just wear concealer and no foundation, this would be the one I'd recommend because it is going to give you that coverage but not be heavy and not be at all cakey. And also it dries down really well. It dries down, and I do set it, I can feel it drying down itself, which is really unique. It also is an aloe-based concealer, and so it does have ingredients that are also good for under your eyes, and that was kind of the whole purpose of the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. Is it's supposed to be a serum, it's supposed to be good for your skin, and this concealer is supposed to do the same thing. The hardest thing for me to say in this review of the concealer is that I really like it, I just don't like the shade of it. Like, I like the formula a lot, and it would rise to the top of being one of my favorite concealers if I had a shade that was actually the right shade for me. I have tried this out on acne spots, but it's not my favorite concealer for that just because of the consistency of it. I definitely prefer using it under my eyes. And also I wanted to mention too that Ilia did go ahead and launch a new foundation brush, but that brush was $40. And I thought about it, like I put it in my cart and then was like, no, we're gonna take it out of the cart because I've not tried any of the Ilia brushes, but $40 for a brush that's hard for me to swallow. And I just wanna give a note here that my favorite brush really of all time is from MOTD Cosmetics, and this is the buffing base brush, and this is what I use to buff out the foundation. I use it for all of my foundations, and I really like it. It works really well. It's a very dense brush, but it's super soft. It's a vegan and cruelty-free brush, and it is much more affordable than the Ilia brush. The Ilia brush might be really good, and honestly, if there was a sale, I would still be interested in picking it up, but full price, that's a hard number to stomach. I'm not an affiliate for MOTD, but I just wanted to let you know that this is the brush that I like to use. So in case you're in the market for a foundation brush, that would be the one I would recommend. So I hope you found this video helpful. I am still going to be doing my comparison with all 5 of those concealers I mentioned. I can't promise when that video is going to go up because, as you guys know, it's a hectic time right now. I am writing my thesis, getting ready to move, going through the job application, interviewing, all that process. I want to do a really good job with that video and have it be as helpful as I can. So I want to film me applying each and every single one of the concealers and also film me talking about all of them so that you can see in one video side by side, like what's the coverage of the hand skincare compared to the coverage of the Ilia, instead of having to like go through all my different videos where I talk about different concealers. So just because of that, it's logistically going to be a lot of work filming and then editing. So it is coming, it's in the works, but I can't give you like, it's gonna be out on this date because I have no idea what life is going to throw at me at the moment. Be patient, it is on its way. And make sure to subscribe to my channel so you do know when I post that video, and hit the bell button as well so you are notified of when I post any videos. Also check out my Instagram, I'll have my handle down below. I'm at Naturally Beautiful Girl. I've been doing a little bit more product review posts on there as well because I have been trying out so many products. I post twice a week, and there are honestly not enough weeks in a month for me to get all the products talked about that I want to talk about. So also check out my Instagram to kind of find out more of my thoughts on products that I'm using. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!